That's not my sawmill. All right. What the heck's going on here? We got two mills. One mill's not enough. You got a little more wear on yours. How many hours you got on it now?
It's coming up 2150, I think.
2150. Holy smokes.
And 1600 of that are in the last 2 years.
Wow. Wow. And what year is it?
17.
Oh, so it's a year newer than mine. Wow. You've been hard at it.
That first winter, I drug it around the roads with the road salts.
Oh, and that really tore it up, huh? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. You know, when I lived up in BC, it was like that. Boy, anything on the road would just get rusted out. But, what you got there?
Homemade bacon.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Right on. Well, cool. Well, here's one over here.
I'm not so sure that was not in better shape than mine.
You're welcome to it, but I think it's not in better shape. Actually, if you look at this one, you can see where it ripped it off, and you can see how that's all split down there.
Oh yeah,
totally split. Dueling mills. Too bad we couldn't have them both running today. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're I don't know, that's like about as dark as it gets in there.
Yeah, it doesn't look, well, it is fairly somewhat plugged, but I don't know that it's restricted enough to make it run any different. And you could,
yeah, I don't know what would cause it to run so rich.
And you pull that sheet metal screw out and pop that off.
Oh, I didn't know there was one there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you've had one plug up, huh?
I've never had it happen on a 4-stroke, but I've had 2 strokes that have done that.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, I'll get a tune-up, give it a tune-up, see how it goes. I still have a band on here. Should not have a band on there. That is not right. Magic Man would be giving me a hard time.
Oh boy.
But when you can't walk, obviously I can walk now. But all right, let me get a couple more things, and then we'll get cracking here.
Okay.
Head on down the road. Hey, good morning. Well, we got some work to do today, but here we are. Mill just needs to be lubed up. Check my outriggers, make sure they're nice and tight still, and get her warmed up, and then we'll get started and get milling. And we'll be doing some 2x4s out of all these 12-footers. I'm gonna have to buck these ends, so we'll buck those out, clean them up, the ones that aren't cleaned up. One of the things I think I'll talk about today will be odds over evens, or odds are better than evens. So I'll show you that. And all that is when you have a log like this one here, and this is the big end, but you know, if you want to make 2 cants out of this, you either have to take them out off of either side of the pith, or you've got to have one offset so that you capture the pith. And the pith, of course, is right here in the middle. So if I tried to make 2 cants here, I wouldn't want to make them one here and one here because the pith is right there. I could take them out here, or maybe 3. 1, 2, 3. So odds are 1, 2, 3. Evens would be 2. 2's not as good as 3 in this case, though you could do 1 here and 1 here and just take the center out. But it's better not to do that. It's also quicker. You know, roll me once, roll me twice, get her done. A lot of discussion. A lot of guys like to roll 180 degrees, and you know, when you're production sawing, that's not faster. And production sawing is about quickly getting the log done so that you can get to the next log. when you've got a bunch of logs to do. You know, you got your customers waiting on you, or maybe you're charging by the board foot. The more you get done in a shorter period of time when you're charging by the board foot, the more you're going to make. If you're charging by the hour, well, then the happier your customer's going to be. So if you can cut the top, roll it, cut the top, roll it, cut the top, cut, and or cut, roll it one more time, and then run it down to the deck. That's the quickest way to go. So we didn't get much stacking and stickering done. We kind of started here. I've got to clean this up a little bit and make sure it's well supported on this bottom. The bottom of your stacked lumber needs to be secure, solid on the platform and on one plane. It doesn't have to be level, but it needs to be one plane. You don't want to twist induced into it. So once you get this bottom level nice and solid, then you can just stack and sticker up all the way up. Those are 12.5s. So we're going to do all the 12.5s first. Then we'll grab the 8.5, 9-foot stuff. Now I do have a 12.5 D-log in there. That's going to have to go on last. So we'll get those done. If I get to the D-logs today, which these 16-footers, then we'll have to stack those in another spot. And then, of course, we get a lot of slash. You know, you're doing a logging operation, you get a lot of slash. And we did a lot of thinning in the fall, and we did some burning in the winter, and this is the remnants of that. So we've got just this little bit here to get rid of still. So if we can get this green stuff burned and maybe a little more cleaned up from where we fell the trees, then we're looking pretty good. Now you might be wondering about these logs sitting over here. You might be thinking, why aren't you milling those? Well, these are actually a fungus killed fir, and they were already starting to check. Even though this was just felled, you can see it's checked throughout. And I looked at some of the bark on some of it, and it was really dry and checked. Well, you're not going to produce the best lumber, but what you will get with dead standing timber is good firewood. So we've bucked up some of that, and if I don't get the rest of it bucked up this trip, that's okay. It'll be here for the next trip. We'll get it bucked up. So the plan for today is to get some logs milled. We're going to try to get at least a good dent in this log pile, depending on how the mill runs. And honestly, depending on how I feel, because we've been out here almost a week now, and this old jarhead's feeling a beat. But at least we've got these logs decked up, and so if I don't get them all, there is something that I'm going to do that will help prevent them from getting infested by the bark beetles. And that is, I will spray these logs. I'll spray them with Home Defense Max. It's not borate. However, I've noticed it does kill the pine boring beetles. You can see I left the mill pretty dirty. That is not typical of me. Normally at the end of the day, I blow it off, get it all cleaned off. But I'll be honest, I've just been a little worn out. We've been working hard. I took the job I mentioned in previous videos, and boy, I'll tell you, having gone from working an entirely different style, schedule, everything else, to a job that I have to commute to, and I'm gone 12 hours a day, has made it difficult. And I know, oh, woe is me, right? A lot of people would want that job. Well, guess what? You can apply for it. But it definitely takes away the time that I've had in the past to go out and do physical things. And I'm not a gym rat I used to be many, many moons ago. I used to work out all the time. Now, I just like to be able to get out and walk. And of course, with the back trouble I haven't been able to do that. And so I need to get out and walk or ride my bike or something and get in shape. And oh man, suffice to say, I'm out of shape. And so being out here is really good to get the milling season started. All right, folks, well, it's time to get cracking. I need to get the mill ready to go and get some logs up on the deck and get some of that milled up and bring you along with me. And I got a few things I'm going to show you today. And I'll call this this series, I'll make a playlist for this series. I will call it something, you know, cabin milling or something like that. All right, let's get to it. Well, folks, the old Jarhead Sawdust Road Show, well, maybe for this time around, ain't gonna continue. We're running pretty rich right now. I'm seeing a lot of smoke come out at an idle, and when it's running full throttle, it doesn't look like oil smoke. It looks like it's actually fuel. I blew out the air cleaners, both of the air filters. I blew them out, tried to clean them out. They were a bit dusty, but not real terrible, I don't think. But it's running pretty black, and looking in the pipe itself, the pipe's really black. So that's a rich running condition. So not too little fuel, too much fuel for some reason. So I'm gonna have to figure it out. I don't think I should run it like this right now. Definitely getting carboned up, I think. So I may be done running the sawmill for this trip. Good thing I'm trying to figure it out, because I've got jobs to do and I can't have my mill not running right. So it's been a comedy of errors this year, and we'll have to get it fixed. So in the meantime, I guess I'm gonna do some other things.